Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And joining me, as always, is my co-host, terrific Trav Double OT. Trav, I feel like it's been so long since I've been here because I've been in outer space. I've been under the sea. I got kidnapped. You know, I almost forgot what it felt like to do an interview, but, you know, I'm bringing it back and I am ready to go. But now that I am back, D isn't here.
That's right.
D is in the Speed Force again.
I don't know what D told me. He's coming back. I'm out.
Hey, look, D is trying to save Shazam right now because they need all the help that they can get. You know, Wonder Woman showed up and now Rebellious D is there. But joining us today on today's interview, we have a voice actor. Trav has hyped her up, said how cool she is and whatnot. And I am so excited that I am here. So like All Might says, I am here. So that way that we could do this interview. And that is voice actress Lisette Monique Diaz. Lisette, how are you doing today?
Like, wow, what an intro. Hello.
Hey, that's what the number one hero does. I hype up all the guests that we have up here because without you guys, we wouldn't be watching anime or playing video games or other stuff or listen to audibles. There we go.
Listen to audibles. That's so true. I mean, that's why I got into it. Jeez, like exactly for that reason.
Nice. Well, I can't wait to get into this interview so that way that we can, you know, talk about you, hear your origin story and all that stuff. So are you ready to go?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, awesome. So before we get into today's interview, everybody that's watching, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And if D was here, he would say like, follow, subscribe. Link is down below, all that good stuff. And then Trav, what is your tip of the day?
My tip of the look, if it's messy, throw a sheet over it. You know what I mean? Hide it, throw a sheet over it. It ain't nothing. Mess gone.
Hey, yo, real talk, not gonna lie. You know, sometimes after you have a hard week, them clothes be on the side of the bed, you just throw a sheet on it and be like, I'll get to it next time. On it. That's all
and you know, like in the cartoons when they clean their room and they vacuum the whole room.
Yeah, exactly.
Toys, clothes, everything go in the vacuum.
Yep. Oh no, I was thinking more of when you know, they sweep everything under the rug and then the rug just flattens down. That's what I was thinking of.
I wish you could have like the Smart House. Remember they threw it all on the floor? Hey, Pam took care of it. Pam took care of it.
Yeah, hey, that was my movie, man. And,
I love that movie.
You know, let's go ahead and get into this interview because I do want to talk about some Disney stuff. So, Lisette, I always ask this question when we start every interview. What is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one. So tell everybody who you are.
Oh my goodness. Hi, I'm Lisette Monique Diaz. My origin story. Well, I was born in Germany. I guess my most basic origin story is that I come from being a fan. I was watching anime when I was a kid and a little baby. And like the first shows that got me into it were obviously like everything that was on Toonami when I got home from school. So like Sailor Moon, DBZ, Cardcaptor Sakura, Hamtaro, all that good stuff. It was around, I think, the third grade that I started collecting manga and like really noticing that like what I was watching was completely different. I didn't realize what voiceover was until a little bit later, maybe totally like the fifth grade, when I started to notice that the voices sounded the same sometimes. It was really weird to me. And so I just remember like going on good old fashioned Bing and checking the people, like realizing, hey, this is the same person, this is the same person. But I was a total weeb all throughout like middle school and all that good stuff. I was doing my research on the industry. I was going to be a veterinarian. And then all of a sudden in high school, junior year, I did my first play and I was kind of like took by the acting bug and realized that this is what I wanted to do. My mom was about ready to kill me, but I was like, this is the choice that I went to do. But no, it's been like really fun the whole time. I've been taking classes since 2012 was my very first voiceover specific class. I went to school for theater. That class was with Crispin Freeman, and like that was so cool just to be like, especially as a fan, be like, oh my goodness, he does the animes.
That's him.
I was like, oh, I know But since then, like, I worked with a whole bunch of people, and I went to go, as you said, I went to go work at Disney theme parks. I worked at Disney Universal Studios. I worked at Disneyland. I worked at SeaWorld San Antonio and Six Flags Over Texas. I come from doing a lot of character work, so having fun, just kind of playing with kids and stuff, and that really helped me when I came back to Texas post Panini. Around summer of 2020 and started getting back into the world of voiceover. Having done all those crazy antics in theme parks really gave me the confidence whenever I was in the booth to, like, I don't care what I look like. I'm just going to play this crazy character and have fun. And then I'm still technically within my first year of doing anime. So it's been awesome. A fun ride. That I got my first video game with Morgan Lou Garrett as the director. She cast me from a class specifically. And then from that point on, last May, I got my very first Walla session. And from that class, from that session in Walla, I got booked for my very first role as her in the background, even Skeleton Knight. And then from then on, it's just kind of consistently I've been booking. And of course, Jahy came literally 2 months after my very first session. So it was really cool. And I've been fortunate since to keep going.
Well, that's a nice origin story. I like that. Of course, me and Trav, it's just the two of us right now. So we about to tag team, piggyback, ask you a bunch of questions and whatnot.
Ready. I'm ready.
After the origin story, Trav, I want to ask the first question, because, we're all three of us, we're around the same age. We're all weebs. We're all nerds. We watched Toonami. You mentioned that. Yeah. I want to know because you looked up and saw like this person was voicing this person and it's the same person in like almost every anime. Like, who were some of your voice actor inspirations that, made you want to, take this thing serious?
So to take it seriously, I had a lot of like little fangirl crushes on characters, of course. But getting to meet them in conventions is really awesome. One of the people that I did meet was like Monica Rial, and she was one of the first people. And I met her in the studio like a couple weeks ago, and it's one of those when you meet them in the studio, you're just like, you have no idea who you are to me right now. Hello. But I just remember going to a con and doing this little baby like ADV Films RIP convention like competition, and it was just kind of go up and read a thing, and I had mine memorized. I did a little baby monologue from Pokemon, and just something that she was talking about, like I think I was maybe like 13 years old, and she just kind of gave me really great inspiration on the fact that like, oh, you've never taken acting classes and you have really good potential. Just little things like that. And since then, like just taking classes and the whole year leading up to that very first like official gig, every single person that I worked with was like, are you sure you're not doing this right now? I was like, you have potential. I was like, thank you, just cast me in something. But my favorite voice actor, Jerry Jewell, who's the voice of Jimmy Kuno in Detective Conan Kyo from Fruits Basket and like A Million One Things, was one of my favorite voice actors. And like every time I would see them in something and like getting to see how different, like, even though he's the same voice, getting to see the different characters that they can play was really cool. I don't know if I'm sitting here like just naming people. I don't know if I have like a specific person. I really do think it's been more of like my theater teachers, to be honest, because getting to work with them, and like originally I didn't come from like any traditional background. A lot of people come and like, I've been taking theater since I was a wee lad. I just kind of got into it because I was a fan and I wanted to really be that person that got to make the products that I love. Like anime was such a part of my life, and they inspired me to be a better person, and so I wanted to be that person for other people coming in as a fan as well. And I really just wanted to live the childhood dream and play cartoon characters.
That's awesome. I'm one of those type of people that always says, if there's something that you want to do in your life, then you should go out and do it. Me, for example, I always wanted to be a professional wrestler, and eventually I started going to school for training, and now just like you in voice acting, I've been wrestling now for 10 years now. And I've met so many people that I grew up watching on TV, and like how you were just saying with meeting Monica, it's like you always have to stay professional. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't want to mark out, because it's like they always say that's frowned upon. I don't know. Is it like that in the voice acting community as well? Because like in not community, but in the voice acting community, because like in the wrestling community, like they always would tell us, it's just like, you should never mark out if you meet somebody, and you should never take a photo if you meet somebody and whatnot. And like those are the older guys, but I'm just like, well, I don't think that it's bad if I'm just like, hey, like I was a fan, can I get a photo with you?
Yeah. No, I think that's different because you're coming in from like that pure place of like, wow, thank you for having been that person in my life. It's different from being that unprofessional than being like, oh my gosh, I'm such a big fan, blah, 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 can I get your autograph, when you both have a job to do. And that is why, like, in any acting thing at Crunchyroll as well, they have like the green space or the little break areas that technically as contract performers we're supposed to like remain in those places, not hang out and bother other people kind of sort of thing, even if you do know someone. So it is one thing, especially for newer people, and I've heard stories about other people where they can't contain their inner fan, and it does rub people the wrong way, specifically because they're there to work. They're busy, they're doing something. But on the other hand, I've heard stories where literally maybe 2 weeks ago, I don't know who the person was, but she met, I think it was Monica again. Like, she met Monica and she was basically telling her how excited she was that, I'm a big fan of yours. I'm here for my very first session. I'm kind of nervous, but I'm excited. And that Monica later then remembered the girl's name and was in the same studio. And I was like, oh my goodness, how did she do? She was talking to me earlier. So it comes from like such a genuine place versus I'm here and you can tell that I'm here either just to make friends or just to be like a fan. And because at that, even though we're all fans, we're working at the same time. So it's just kind of knowing that how to keep that professional in general. But it's different when you're at a convention.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I've learned because I am always professional. Meanwhile, I've seen some of my friends are just like, they run around like, oh my goodness, look at you, I know this person. They're like, it's one thing, like you get to be professional but also a fan at the same time because you're all of a sudden in this different space than when you're at the studio. Yeah,
I agree with you on that. I remember there was a Christmas show at one of the places that I was wrestling at, and like Trav knows that every Christmas, like in the month of December, I become Santa Banks, and I come to the ring in my Santa Claus outfit, all that stuff and whatnot. And are you in the wrestling?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. So
what is the woo-woo-wee?
So there's a wrestler named Mick Foley, right? He wrestled as Mankind, and like he's a huge like Christmas person. And he was at one of the events that I was at, and he had as soon as he got to the building, like one of the wrestlers like just ran up to him and like wanted to get a picture with him like as soon as he walked in. And of course people were talking about it, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, they didn't even let the man get in the door.
Exactly. Right? That's hard.
And so, I'm like later on in the night, I'm just waiting in the hallway dressed as Santa Claus, like right before I'm about to go out to the ring. And then he's sitting down writing Christmas cards to like some of the fans that were at the building. And then he sees me and he's like, there's Santa. Like, I've been waiting to see a Santa Claus all night. And I had went up, I introduced myself and whatnot. And I hope that he remembers me. I mean, I was dressed up as Santa Claus, but still, it's like you have to pick and choose your moments when it comes to that stuff, because it's like I feel like you always just want to be professional, but like you were saying, at the conventions, it's a whole different space. So, Trav, I pass the ball to you, sir.
Yeah, well, I first piggyback in the night. I wanted to piggyback because we all three work in the different fields we work in. Of entertainment, like me being a mix engineer, actor, wrestler. I want to know for you, when you finally got into that place of, all right, I'm doing this, I'm making money, it's like an actual job. Did it meet some sort of expectations that you kind of had in your mind going into the studio for the first time? Because for me, I'm not gonna lie, so I had built up working in a professional studio so long, and the first time I worked in a professional studio, I was like, I thought this was gonna be cool. You know what I mean? You see like all the backstage behind the scene videos, and like you think, oh, it's this crazy thing, and it's work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like no different than just going to work. So how was that for you? Finally making that dream come true, and did it live up to any expectations you had?
Well, I've also, like you're saying, I've always been the person that watches behind the scenes stuff. So, and I've had this conversation with my dad actually, because he's the same way. I've heard people, not even voiceover, I've heard people like working at theme parks that have like left Disney because they've said it ruins the magic for them.
Right.
Because they get to see all the behind the scenes. But I'm the type of person that I love that stuff. And so like it makes it so much cooler for me. And so like getting to see how everything works behind the camera, behind the computer, so watching the engineers work, I think is the coolest thing. I was originally going to try and be a double major for audio engineer as well as theater, so that I can learn that, because I think it's such like they're wizards. Audio engineers are wizards, and I think it's so cool to just sit there and watch them. So whenever I got into the studio, so the first one that like professional one, because I was doing like little at home things like industrials before I got my foot into Crunchy, but then through Okatron I was in the Tales of Luminaria with Morgan Le Garrett, but just like playing little NPC characters. And that was the first like professional studio space. And it was one of those where, again, like you said, you have to like hold yourself because you're in a professional spot. You're like, oh, what is this kind of sort of thing? And it was cool, like having seen the photos and videos, like, oh, here's the screen and here's this and here's that. But at Crunchy, I think for me, whenever I first got in, it was definitely holding in my inner fangirl of being just like, I'm here, I see this. And of course they have all this stuff. So they have like anime playing on the TV, and then they have like the giant Goku's like statue somewhere, and then all this different stuff. So you're just like, this is so cool. This is so cool. But then the more I got to go in it, it kind of not lost its glow, but I got more comfortable in it. So that now, especially whenever I was with Jahy, I was there 2 to 3 times a week, in and out. It hit me, I think, one of the first times, because they have the person at the front desk, and you go in and you check in, they tell you what studio you're going to, and they all knew my name. After just a couple weeks, I was like, people know me? Oh my goodness, that's crazy. And so like that was the thing, that people that I had worked with before that I looked up to as directors and other actors were recognizing me and calling me by my name. And then all of a sudden it hit me midway through the season, be like, oh, hey, I am an actor. I am doing this kind of sort of thing. And so like now when I go in, even though I'm not like in any lead shows, people already knew who I am because I was there an entire season throughout that recording process. And so me going in, I feel more comfortable poking my head in and just saying hi to people. Meanwhile, there are certain people where I'll pass by their booths and I see that they're like recording My Hero Academia, and I see Colleen Klinkenbeard, and I'm just like, you don't know who I am. Hello, goodbye. I just keep going.
You have your Deku.
Exactly. That's exactly it. But it's one of those where like I feel more comfortable now that I'm in it than more of the fangirl nervousness. But then every now and then someone walks into the studio and you're just like, oh, that's the person that did this and that. No. Okay, contain yourself. So I don't know. It's a fun experience, especially since I'm still new. And getting to play the game is one of the more exciting things for me.
And that's always so crazy about like big cities that you're in, like those studios, there's like 20 recording studios set up. You walk down the long hallway, but like out here, so like I've never told this story on the podcast before, but like 6 years ago,
I know,
exclusive, I got Banks don't even know this story because I don't really like to talk about myself, as Banks knows, but like I got to interview at Pharrell's studio in Norfolk for an internship when I graduated, and this is Pharrell.
Yeah,
2 studios in it, and they just got plaques on the wall. But like, you know, there wasn't like 20 studios. You know, this big building. It wasn't fancy. It was just 2 studios. So like, depending on location, so it's pretty crazy. where you are out in the big city.
Yeah.
That you can walk in the studio and see all these people working.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's how it was with Okatron too, which was the first experience where having found. Well, I remember finding it because it was in this small little space, and I kind of like walked in, and I knew it was it because it had like the Dragon Balls all on it. I was like, yes, this is his studio. Got it. And you walk in and he has Vegeta stuff everywhere. I was like, yes, this is his studio. Got it, Chuck. But it was really cool to walk in because it is a smaller studio and it is very much geared towards what they do rather than Crunchyroll being such a big name and that they have like all the different things. And they also have to keep it. I actually saw today, I don't know who they were, but some people were just kind of walking through and just touring, and it was kind of like seeing it through their eyes, where it is so new and it is a cool experience walking into this space because this is where it all happens.
Yeah,
it's like Willy Wonka's factory.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to piggyback off of what you guys were saying about like seeing the behind the scenes stuff, like I always feel like that stuff is cool too, but I feel like the reason why I think it's cool is because growing up, I just used to always love watching behind the scenes documentaries or, hearing commentary on stuff like, why this director did this or like why this actor did that. I just always thought stuff like that was cool. And I do agree that after a while, like the field that you're in, it's like you don't lose the magic that, it once had over you. But it's like it feels like you're a part of that magic now because you see like how things are being made, how things are done behind the scenes and whatnot. And I feel like once you lose that magic, then I feel like that it's the wrong place for you to be, because then you start becoming bitter and then you start hating on people, which is something that I've seen in the wrestling business before. I'm just like, man, like I don't get how you guys get like this. So moving along, I wanted to bring up the great Jahy, and you're the lead in this series. Like how does that feel? I mean, like, because I feel like when you get in voice acting, it's just like you're just happy to be a part of it, but like to actually be the lead character, and like going from doing like Walla
so quickly too.
Yeah, like how is that feeling?
Oh my gosh. Well, especially like you said, so quickly too. And I think that's the big thing, because literally I went in, had the first Walla, from that Walla got cast in a show. Cool. Awesome. Great. That never happens. Did another Walla, got cast in another show. Awesome. And then Morgan cast me in Kaguya-sama to pick up a character that was no longer able, like the actor wasn't able to show up anymore, but she knew me already. So I had like these 3 different shows already under my belt. I was like, oh, I'm doing it. I'm making it a little faster. Cool. Because I already had the experience coming in, rather than people that don't have that experience. And then all of a sudden, literally, whenever they were sending out all the emails, it basically, when you get cast in something, you get it from the coordinator saying, this director would like to cast you as this character in this show. I had been taking like a nap and I just checked my phone. And so I was like half asleep, delirious, and it said that. And it's one of those where I saw the name of the show, I saw the name of the character, and I kind of sat there and I was like, this has to be a typo. I was like, this is wrong. And of course, Jonathan Rigg, the director, is a newer director. So like, I didn't know who this person was. I didn't know what this anime was. And I just like looked it up, and I kept like looking at the email, be like, nah, but what if it is true? But what if it isn't true? Kept going back and forth. I didn't tell anybody. I got the email on like a Wednesday. Then I went in to record on Friday and didn't say anything, just in case it was wrong. I went in, and that was the very first thing. It was like, oh, hi, I'm Jonathan Rigg, and I'm so excited to meet you. I want you to be my Jahy. I was like, really? Okay. But it was, again, like, I think the first time, like afterwards, I was like telling my sister, telling my mom, telling my stepmom, telling my brother, all of my fans, and so I was kind of in shock for a little bit. And then it was such a fast turnaround that I remember finishing episode 1. They had asked for like our headshots for announcements on like the Tuesday, and then Wednesday on Monday, Tuesday the announcement was dropped, and Wednesday the first episode dropped. Nice. And so again, it was so fast. And me and Monet Lerner, who plays Druge, and Suzanne de Karma, who plays the landlord, we were all newer talent as well, and we like hang out and everything now since the show. We got to hang out, but we all still talk about the very first time when the announcement dropped on like Twitter, and the number of people that were just going on there and responding kind of made it realize like how real it was. Is that like, oh my god, all these people are watching us now. And so it got to the point where, and still to this day, I would go in, especially being so new, and even though I have some training and some experience behind me, I felt like now that I had my foot in the door, I had to keep proving myself that I was worth it, and that like he took a gamble on me, someone so new who hasn't done this as long as some people who have been there for so long and still haven't gotten a lead. And so every single time I would go into the studio, I was just so nervous. And then like I had to kind of like get rid of all those nerves and then just do the job kind of thing. Because, you know, at the end of the day, there's a reason why you got cast in the show. But like even to this day, like near the end of us recording, it was really like sad because once that's done, it's done. You don't go back to it. You kind of hope people are fans. Unfortunately, our show was also premiering around time that Blue Lock and Chainsaw Man were premiering. And so we kind of did get like buried by some stuff, but like we have our fun fans and people really love it. But it is, again, still to this day, every time I go in, because people know me from that and I've already had a lead, she's already had her big shot, like every time I do go into studio, I still feel that I have to like prove that like I earned this. I was like, I did this I was like, no, I have over 10 years of training and experience. There's a reason why I'm here. But like I've gotten to the point where I've kind of starting to get over that a bit, like, and I'm still in my 1 year and it's been months since that was done, but like still part of me is just like, no, you did this, like you got cast in something and I continue to get cast, so clearly I'm doing a good job. While at the beginning I was just kind of like so much pressure.
Trav?
Yeah, and sometimes in this kind of field of work, as much as you love the fans and stuff, the validation has to come from the peers.
Yeah.
Because that's how you know what kind of job you're doing. Like, Banks has to base his wrestling ability off of his peers of wrestlers and not so much the fans in the crowd sometimes. And it's like that for everybody in their field.
It's very true. Like, especially because those are the people that are also doing it. Like, however much they're your peers and they're cheering you on, they're also on another side, they're your competition. Yeah,
they're competition. And, you know, like Trav was saying, like with wrestling, I feel like it's a little bit different because when a promoter sees, like, you know, the fans are wearing your merchandise, and like, I mean, Trav, he's been to the events, he sees everybody, they put their pinkies up, there's pinky lights in the crowd, there's Golden Pinky Society shirts everywhere, and it's like the promoter sees that stuff. So it's just like when the promoter sees that stuff, it's just like, okay, like, it's like, yeah, I have these other guys here, but it's just like, these are the guys, you know what I'm saying? And so I feel like it's yes and it's a no, if that makes any sense. Because it's just like, I mean, the fans, when it comes to voice acting, it's just like they will ride with y'all. Like, I've seen it. It's just like when y'all, like, you know, like we interviewed Ryan Cote Levy, and y'all can check out his interview. It is up here on the podcast, or you can watch it on YouTube. And I finally met him at GalaxyCon, and I was just telling him, I was like, bro, like, people love you. Like, it's just like, you know, people here at the con love you, people online love you. And I think that that's a good feeling, and people, they do see that. It's like, and it's just like, I feel, you know, if you have so much love from so many people, like fans and whatnot, I would like to think that in voice acting, that studios see that and we're just like, okay, like, this person's hot, we need to keep on using them because people want to see them. Is it like that? Would you say?
I'm not totally sure, mainly because fortunately, like, well, to be fair, like, there are a lot of people that get cast and they're like the big names. There's a reason why we see them. A lot. You would hope that that person is getting a lot of fan love, but then that's also pushing them to keep doing a good job. I know that's like part of it for me too, because there are a lot of people that are coming from, oh my goodness, I'm so excited that you were in Jahy. I can't wait to hear you in this show. Anytime I make an announcement, but I'm always being compared to that one show and that one character kind of sort of thing. And I'm sure a lot of the other voice actors do it, but like, there's a reason why those people are consistently being booked and getting the attention. And I do think it's not only because they're good, but like they're just really great to work with. Mm-hmm. So like all those people are just really nice, and if you're
the other half of it.
Like exactly, you're gonna have to spend 4 hours a day, multiple days a week, especially if there are multiple leads in different shows and stuff. Like, so you do have to cast people that are nice to work with.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like you don't want them in your studio.
I feel you on that.
Trust me.
So one question I want to ask, and I'll pass it to you, Trav. Like, what are some animes or video games that you would like to lend your voice to?
Oh my goodness. So I know, so I'm a huge Pokemon kid, obsessed. It's sad, but like whenever, like seeing all the announcements of Ash retiring and his journey's over and all this good stuff, and I'm over here like, boo-hoo, people stop it. But also, how do I submit so that I could be the new protagonist? How do I get my name on that roster? Who do I need to talk to? Lisa Ortiz, hello, where are you? But like that is definitely one, like I was talking to my siblings this weekend about it, because I'll do anything, it's fine. I'm a huge My Hero fan. So again, like, let me scream in the background for you. It's cool. I know that all the main characters have already been cast, and from here on out, it's basically it. So my chances are gone.
No, that's not necessarily true. As somebody who reads the manga, you still have plenty of time to voice somebody that may not be a part of the main character.
Exactly.
But they play a big part in it. So yeah, you still got time.
See, that is the hope. So it's things like that, because it's one of those like, okay, so what are they going to take from the manga? What are they going to make into the anime? Especially like shows like Attack on Titan that are ending part 20,000.
Yeah, part 20,000. Yeah, because they only got the last thing coming out, and then that's it.
Yeah, so they had the 1 hour special, and it was funny because they have been recording that, of course, in the past couple weeks, and so they're preparing to drop that whenever that gets dropped. And it's one of those where if you know the director, it's kind of like, are they gonna call me in? No, okay. Are you gonna call me in now? No, okay. And like knowing what, like, especially if you watch the subs of shows, like as a fan, I watch a lot of stuff sub, and then I follow it in dub eventually.
Yeah.
And so you become fans of the show. Sugar Apple Fairy Tale was one this past season I really enjoyed. And I was talking to the director, and I was just talking to him as a fan. But then inside of me too, I'm just like, if you want to call me in, I wouldn't say no. Favorite shows of my life are going to be like Detective Conan, and I know that they're bringing some of that stuff back, some of the spin-offs and everything. I would love to lend my voice for that. One of my all-time favorite shows, Cardcaptor Sakura, is coming back again. And then Kaleidostar is one of my top favorite shows. If they were to ever do a reboot or a sequel to that, I would love to be part of it. And that's just because I'm a fan. Let me just scream in the background. I don't care.
That's all you want to do.
Or I just want to be in the universe. It's fine.
I feel you on that, man. and you know, like to piggyback, because we had interviewed Nazi Tarsha, and y'all can check out his interview. It is on the podcast, or you can watch the video on YouTube. And I remember when we interviewed him, he was in the My Hero Academia movie. And do you read the manga?
I haven't caught up. The last time, literally, because I do the thing where I read the manga and then I just stop. I catch up to where it is at the point, and then I just don't read it for a long time. I haven't finished Naruto still. But I got to like Gentle Hero, and I haven't read since.
Oh, okay.
I know a lot that happens.
But no, it's cool. It's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler because all that stuff's already been. Oh no, never mind. I know what you're talking about. Never mind.
Yeah.
Trav, you didn't hear that. But anyway, so Nazi, he voices a character that was in the movie. And I remember I had told him when we interviewed him, I was just like, yeah, man, your character comes back because he appears in the manga, but it's like they never did anything with that character. They just showed the character. And now like he's voicing the second user of One for All now. So that's what I'm saying. It's just like you just never know. And like that's a character that's going to be there until the end. So it's just like, hey, fingers crossed, pinkies up that you get into the My Hero series before it ends. And then of course too, you never know. Like they might come out with another movie, and then it's like the same thing with Ryan. Like when we interviewed him, he was saying he auditioned for a role, he didn't get it, and then they brought him back as Rhodey Soul. So you just never know what can happen to you in the world of voice acting.
Oh, I was just talking to one of my friends about that, like, because knowing that it's coming to its near end, I'm just like, well, there's a lot of spin-offs. First of all, that
That's
if
true.
it's such a big series, they could totally do any of the spin-off series. They could always do movies and stuff. It's like Pokemon. It's big enough and popular enough that they could do other things if they wanted to. I'll be here.
Every time Banks is like, you know, season 6 or season 7 or whatever, that's gonna be it.
No,
like,
season 8. Season 8
is it still making money? Is it still making money? No, that's not it, bro.
Exactly.
They gotta do something.
Well, Horikoshi said that he wants to end it. So I mean, it's the same thing like with Demon Slayer. It's just like when she finished it, like that was it. There's no spinoffs or anything.
Some people are like that, but you know that 20 years later, they're like, I guess I can make more money.
I was gonna say Inuyasha comes back 20 years later.
Yashahime, and now Hunter x Hunter's coming back. But Trav, go ahead. I got some more questions I want to ask. But Trav, go ahead.
No, I want to just circle back and then I'll pass it to you, Banks, about, you know, you were just saying like, you know, hey, you know, let me in there or whatever. Is that kind of happen with Suzumi? Because I think you're in Suzumi, right? In some form of capacity? No, or are you just reposting a lot of stuff from it?
I repost a lot of stuff for people's things. I would love to be sure.
Okay. Well, I can't. Scratch that question. I can't wait to see that movie.
No, me neither. I was like, that's one thing, especially in like such a competitive field. I like, depending on what's going on in the world and the community, a lot of times I'll just like repost people's stuff.
I feel you.
Let them shine. I don't want the spotlight on me or like all the other stuff.
You support a lot of people.
Yeah, I try.
That's what you're supposed to do. You know,
exactly.
You know, I support you. You support me. Like that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see those, like, see other people that I know. Like I've taken classes with them and now seeing them succeed and everything. Like I don't know, you know, Devon Oliver, who's now one of the I don't know which user, but he's one of the All for One users as well now.
He might be the first. He might be the.
He's the one with the thing like this.
With the man,
yeah, exactly. With his jacket all the way up here. I can't remember which number.
I think that's the 6th user, maybe.
Sure.
They got that many, really? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's
He's the 9th.
Jaku's the 9th user.
He's the 9th.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the thing, like having seen people in all these classes and stuff leading up to me getting Jahy, and everyone was so happy for me. And now, like all these months later, I'm gonna see more people from that area as well. Like now they're getting big characters and things, and I'm just like, yeah, that's awesome because everyone is rising up to their own point. Like I hate the fact that it's such a competition. I want everyone to succeed too. So
yeah, and that's how it should be. I mean, like at the end of the day, it's just like we all want to, you know, reach our goals and whatnot. But it's just like you also want to see other people win too, and then you want to support them because it's like you never know where that support may land or lead you. Sorry about that, but it's just like because people, they pay attention to that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I support, like, because I cosplay. And you know, I share people's cosplays and stuff like that. But then it's just like when I started taking cosplay a lot more serious, like I was saying that like people weren't sharing my stuff, and I'm just like, well, dang, man, like I was always sharing your stuff. You know, it's just like, and so I mean, it does suck, you know. And Devon, he does voice the 6th user, so I was the 6th user. Yeah, hey, your boy stays on top of it. Oh, go ahead, Trav.
Before I move on, I do just want to say you never know what character's gonna pop off too for somebody, because sometimes just certain characters catch on like hotcakes for whatever reason, like Christina Costello's character and Genshin.
Yep.
Like that was just a character, but for some reason people gravitated to that character, and it like.
Well, she's a really nice person too, so like that.
Oh yeah, I know. But, well, that's the other half of it. Again, being easy to work with, being a nice person. The other half, but sometimes fans would just gravitate to a character, and then like what started off as a secondary character that they thought all of a sudden now takes on a life of its own.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, especially like I learned going to the convention actually, where like Jahy is a fun show, but it's more of an obscure niche kind of show. And a lot of people don't know it. And we knew that It's fine. It was a fun show for us. But then you do your research, and for some reason, she's memed everywhere. Right. And so a lot of people would recognize her, not know who she was, but they knew her from memes. And so they would come and talk to me about it because they were like, what is this show? Oh, you're the voice actor. I was like, I am. But it was really cool to, like, if I was going on social media, people were fans of her, not the show or anything having to do with it, but of her. But I was just like, that's fine, cool. Give me a second season, please. We'll get more content.
Sometimes the anime is just not hot when it comes out, but it gets hot later.
That's true. Like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is like that. Yep. It's like, people, because I saw all the JoJo memes, and then I was just like, you know what? I'm finally gonna give this show a chance, and now I'm obsessed with it. So you just never know. Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. And then plus two, something I wanted to say is you never know when a voice actor is gonna step down from a role, or they may not want to come back because they don't voice act anymore. I mean, that's what happened with AJ for Tozen and Bleach. Like the voice actor, he doesn't voice act anymore, and the role had to be filled. And AJ, he got the role, and you can check out AJ's interview up here on the podcast, or you can watch it on YouTube. I got to plug it when I mention people. So something I wanted to piggyback off of, Lisette, was you going to your first convention, being a guest there. Now, like Norman Osborn said, I'm somewhat of a convention guest myself, so I know how it feels. So I want to know, like, how was that experience for you?
Definitely on one side, a very big learning experience, having to be on the other side of the table. I've never done vending work or anything like that either. So I've only ever gone to conventions as a fan.
Yeah.
I've been going to conventions since 2005. So I consider myself a veteran when it comes to being a fan at a convention. And my very first convention and long going one was Anime Expo in California. So I'm used to the huge conventions. Besides that, I'm from San Antonio. So San Japan is now a bigger one as well. I've been to A-Kon once or twice, Anime Week in Atlanta. So I usually go to a lot of the bigger conventions. So it was really cool to go to Sci-Fi-Con in Lake Charles, which is, for a small town, a really nice convention for them. It's very local. It's a nonprofit. I do know that. But it was really cool. One, going with Suzanne DeKarma. She's from Lake Charles, and she helped build this convention from the ground up all those years ago when it started. And so she already knew a whole bunch of people there. She knew the staff and everything like that. And kind of getting to have her with me to let me see how the operational side of things are, and then getting to be on the other side as a guest amongst other guests. And I was with Derek Snow and Jeremy Lee and all these other people, because it was not just anime, it was also pop culture. So we had David Fielding, who is in Power Rangers, was sitting literally right next to me. And so with him and Jeremy next to me as well, they kept getting lines. And then I was like, I'm going to be smart. Hey, you're at the end of the line. Oh, hi, how are you doing? And I would pick up conversations with all these other people who had no idea who I was. But I had a lot of really cool conversations with people. Some of them were fans, and most of them had no idea what the show was, who I was. But it was really cool to talk to them, because so many people are going on this journey as well. And getting to talk to teenagers and kids that are interested, and seeing someone come up and be like, how do I do it? Oh, let me talk to you real quick. But I had some really good conversations with people. We were surprised. We had a little great Jahy panel, and we had a little over 20 people in it, which was shocking for people that don't know the show. Some of them didn't even know it. Most of them came because we had talked to them about it, and so they came to support us because we had talked to them the day before, which was really cute. But because, and this is how I've been promoting myself to conventions, because we are newer, or because I'm a newer talent, I'm not as intimidating to talk to as other people. And so I know a couple of them did come up to me and were asking me questions about stuff, and was the first person that they had talked to about it, because they were just too nervous to talk to someone about it. But because I don't have the 1,000,001 characters that they know, because I don't have this big name behind me, they felt more comfortable coming and asking these questions. And I was fine. I didn't have a line of people waiting behind them. It's cool. We can talk for 45 minutes about how to be an actor and how to do this and how to do that and stuff. Or just talking to them about other anime.
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
really cool because I'm not just a voice actor. I'm a fan. So it was really fun to just sit there, and I was commenting on all the people walking by and their cosplays and their shirts and their products and stuff like that. So it was really cool to come from that side. I got a free like Thunderstone from someone because he found out
awesome.
he knew the show and he found out that I loved Pokemon, and so he like ran off, came back with something, and he was like, I have more, and I kind of followed him to his booth and he like gave me a free drawing and a Thunderstone and a sticker, and I'm sitting here like, are you sure? He's like, yes, please take them. I was like, okay. But it was really cool because they were excited and I was excited. We're like, lots of energy.
Yeah, I think that's cool when it's like people, they don't know what a series is, and it's because you're selling yourself, because it's just like you're sitting there talking to them, you're creating a new fan, and it's just like, now I'm a fan for life. I'm going to check out all your stuff and I'm going to keep on supporting you. And I think that moments like that, because when I was doing my research on you, you're somebody that likes to create magic. And like that moment right there was a magical moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So look at that Disney terminology.
Hey,
right there.
hey. So look, I got 2 more questions. I'm sorry, Trav. I'm sorry. And since we talking Disney and you worked at Disney, I'm gonna ask you the question. Give me your top 5 favorite Disney animated movies of all time. It could be hand drawn or 3D animated. What's your top 5?
Top 5. Well, I always have to say Lion King. That was my first movie. Like as a baby, we went to go see it in theaters. This is not going to be in an order. I'm just.
Oh no! This is particular order.
I don't know if I'd be able to actually name a specific order. I'm gonna look at my VHSs. Hold on. I have my VHSs like up above my head. So, Treasure Planet. Obviously, Treasure Planet and Hercules. Treasure Planet is one of my all-time favorites. It's so obscure and I love it so much. Robin Hood. Also, I said Hercules, but Hades is my favorite villain. And that's the thing. Like a lot of things that are popping into my head, I'm just like, it's not a favorite, but like the Encanto soundtrack is fire, and I love it.
Do you sing?
I love to sing. I'm not classically trained, but I can sing.
Well, I mean, because we like to sing up here on the Leveling Up.
We don't like to sing those songs no more. Though.
No. Hey, I'll sing "We Don't Talk About Bruno" if you want to sing with.
I listen to Family Magical as warm-ups because at the end it's like a rap where she's talking so fast and it's tongue twisters. So every time I'm going into studio, I listen to that so that I could get my mouth moving and everything like that, as well as like VeggieTales.
A lot of people seem to like VeggieTales up here. I don't know what it is about the age group that VeggieTales is hot.
I didn't watch VeggieTales growing up. Actually, my brother did, but we only watched I only know VeggieTales from the silly songs. I know basically all the classic silly songs and can like do all of them, but I don't know any of the episodes or anything like that.
VeggieTales is it's so weird to me that
Christian
somebody
anime.
sat down and was like, "Hey, let's teach kids about the Bible and we'll relate everything to vegetables."
Everybody watches VeggieTales, and then don't forget about Bible Man either.
I'm gonna say.
Right.
Oh yeah. We still got to get the last one.
That fifth movie.
That 5th movie.
And then I got a serious question.
I don't know if it would be a favorite, but I really love The Great Mass Detective.
Oh, me too.
I love Sherlock Holmes. I have multiple versions.
Holmes,
I have multiple versions of the original like copies of the books and everything like that. And it's one of those that every time I watch like Great Mouse Detective randomly, I'm just like, yes, such a good movie.
And it still holds up.
Let me I love all those.
We just watched it like 2 years ago.
I love the Renaissance era of Disney. So.
Yeah.
Got a serious question. Though.
Serious question.
Go ahead, Trav.
What's your feelings on this live action Hercules? We say live act. There's been like 50 million Hercules movies, but this Disney version of a live action Hercules.
I haven't watched any. I saw something announced that it was happening.
That's all they did was announce. I think.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
They haven't said who the cast is going to be.
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't announced anything.
Everyone's just saying Danny DeVito needs to be in it.
He better be in it. I'm gonna be pissed. I'm not gonna go see it if he's not in it.
Hey man, he getting that Jersey Mike's money, man. He may not have time.
Danny DeVito has to be Phil, man. If he's not Phil, I'm gonna be disappointed.
When it comes, honestly, because a lot of people ask me about live action questions, I'm a purist when it comes to Disney, in the sense that I don't want you to mess with my original stuff. Don't touch it. However, when they go into the live action realm, it's a completely different medium, and I do think that kind of changes. Like, for example, Toy Stories. I love the Toy Story franchise. I think it's great, but then after movie 3, they should have stopped.
Exactly. I said
they did number 4, and I'm sitting here
never been a 4th.
I think Toy Story 4 might be
and now there's
best
a 5.
Yeah, they are they coming out with a 5?
Yeah, they're coming out with 5.
Yes.
Dude, Toy Story 4 is fire.
Like,
Absolute fire.
Unpopular opinion.
What's it gonna be about?
Toy Story 3 sucks.
Yo, you tripping.
It is atrocious.
Toy
Story 3 sucks. Toy Story 2 is the best Toy Story movie.
Goodbye.
But hold on, bro.
I'm leaving.
Toy Story 4 is fire. Toy Story 4 is fire.
You are tripping.
Key and Peele are fire in it. Forky is fire in it. They brought Keanu Reeves in for a cameo.
That don't mean nothing. Like the story. What do toys do after they're not wanted anymore? Like, Toy Story 3 should have been the last one.
So that was the thing. So I learned while watching Toy Story 3 that Andy and I are the same age. He was graduating from high school when I was graduating from high school. And so it hit even harder for me. I was literally like a bawling mess after I left the theater, because I was like, I'm going to college too. I also have like a crap ton. I donated some cents, but I had a crap ton of stuffed animals from like my childhood. And so like that was the whole thing. I was like, they're all going to be so sad. But then when they announced a Toy Story 4, they said, it was like, oh, it's the original people that made the first one. I'm like, okay, we'll give you a chance. But then watching, I was like, you didn't need it. It was perfect without it. So pointless. And then now they're doing a 5. So like in that sense, it's the same world, the same universe. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. But when they're rebooting something or making something different, like the live action versus the classic, I'm going to compare it to the original, but I'm also going to make my own judgments based on this film experience itself. And so like the Aladdin movie, the live action versus the original, there's no way you can compare to Robin Williams and the original Genie, all this stuff. But they did such a great job. They did a good job. I've only seen it once.
But did you enjoy it?
I
enjoyed it too, but Trav didn't enjoy it.
See, this is the thing. Aladdin's great, and Jasmine is great.
Mm-hmm.
Their story is great. Genie sucks, and it just is what it is. I love Will Smith, but he sucks in this movie.
I mean, it's like, bro, I enjoyed it for what it was. It's like it was a live action movie, and I was one of those fans where when I was watching it, it's like I didn't compare it to the original, because I feel like when you compare something to the original, it's just like you're either gonna really hate it because it's nothing like the original, or you're not gonna like it. You're not gonna give it a chance because you want it to be like the original. And that's the same thing like with a lot of stuff, like the Cowboy Bebop live action show that was on Netflix. It's just like I didn't hate it. I didn't think that it was like really, really good, but it was all right for what it was. And I feel like sometimes it's like you just have to take off those nostalgic glasses and just say, I want to enjoy this for what it is. And because at the same
on that Toy Story 4,
bro, that Toy Story 4 was DLC.
That's exactly.
It was
That's
DLC.
only it. It's because it's the same world. It's the same storyline. It should have just stopped.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. The sequels are like sequels can come and go. Some of them are great. Some of them are really bad. But those are the ones I'm going to judge hard.
But see, like Monsters Inc. is fantastic.
Yes.
There's an argument that Monsters University is a better film.
I enjoy University more than Monsters
argument.
Inc.
Me too. Like weirdly enough, I love Monsters Inc.
See, we like this. We like this. And see, it's like,
and see, that's what I knew when you came on, and I didn't know what Zelda was. You know, it was downhill from there, you know.
Yeah, your fault.
Well, look, I want to ask, and this is my final question. I may think of something else,
Okay,
but
I got one more too.
all right, Lisette, I gotta ask you because you got the Zelda shirt on.
Yes.
Which Legend of Zelda is your favorite? And tell me it's Majora's Mask.
No, that's
I was
my
gonna say
second. That's my
mainline
second
title.
because no, Ocarina of Time is my favorite.
Okay,
But
I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I'll give
so
you that.
Ocarina of Time is my favorite. It was the first
It's
one.
1A, 1B.
There you go.
I mean, that is true though.
It's true.
Because it's back to back.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
That's why like Ocarina of Time is my favorite because that was the very first. I'm pretty sure that was like one of the first video games that I got into. My dad played it. Apparently, my dad played it with my grandma all the time. Like instead of going on dates with my mom, he would visit my grandma and play Zelda. Like true stories.
He would sneak over there and be like,
for real.
But is the grandma his mom or his mother?
No, my mom's mom.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that makes it even better.
Exactly. They like knew each other, whatever. But that was the first game that he got my sister and I into playing. We got my brother. We taught my brother how to read through playing Ocarina of Time. My nieces are playing it. But that's the thing, because not only timeline wise, that was the one that kind of like started it for all of us. So Ocarina of Time is my favorite. When I went to the concert, because this is the concert shirt, when I went to the concert and they had the whole Ocarina of Time part, I was like, tears.
And they show the video on the screen, don't they?
Yes, they do. It's beautiful. I think Majora's Mask would be my second favorite because it's that still continuous timeline within the two, and it's so fun. That's Majora's Mask is my sister's favorite, and then my brother's favorite is Twilight Princess. I think all of us have a second or third favorite being the Breath of the Wild one, just because it is gorgeous. And yes, ready to get that next one coming out next month.
Okay. So, Travis heard this story before, but you already know because we talk about Legend of Zelda. I remember Legend of Zelda. It was either Legend of Zelda or Mario 64. One of those games was the first game that I had ever beaten in my entire life. And I think it was Legend of Zelda, but I remember when it first came out and my mom would rent it from us. I mean, not from us, but would rent it for us from Blockbuster.
Yeah, Blockbuster.
What's that?
I remember I had a fun time playing it. I got through the Great Deku Tree and all that stuff. But then as soon as you go out into Hyrule, like I thought it looked beautiful. It was a big open world. But then as soon as nightfall came and them skeletons were coming out of the ground, I would get scared. I would turn the game off, and I was just like, I'm not playing this. And it took me. So it was Super Mario 64, the first game that I beat, because for Legend of Zelda, like I used to get scared. So yeah.
That was the undead.
In real life too.
Well, the thing was because I've replayed it multiple times. Literally, when I was in college, I was bored and I had the whole place to myself because my roommate was out of town. And I was like, I wonder how long it'll take me to beat the game without doing any of the side stuff, no breaks or anything like that. But still to this day, I can do it. But when you have to go get like the sun song and you have to go underneath and the undead are there, I hate the undead. They're like, they just scream at you. And like, you're always like, get me out. And you're just stuck. I was like,
oh my god,
man. My god, they're supposed to be coming back in the new game too. I saw images. I was like, oh no.
Oh my god, man, them things you said, and especially like when you become adult, Link. I see now. This is something I remember too.
And they're all there when you come out.
As soon as you come out of the temple, right? So look, right. So when I had rented it from Blockbuster again, like somebody was already adult Link, and I was just like, oh wow, like how did he get here? And then when I went out into the square, I was just like, why does Hyrule look like this? And then you had the zombies, and then you were frozen, and then Link just kept on dying, and I was just like, what is going on? Like, that is the one thing, like, kids today, when they get a game, it comes blank, whereas back in the day, if you rented something from Blockbuster, only 64 games, because PlayStation games, you had to have a memory card, but if you rented a 64 game, you had somebody else's memory up there, and it was either good or bad.
That's true. Or like you would just like, should I play it and just kind of cheat my way to the end?
No.
You get on games like that because you be so confused.
You have no idea.
Where am I?
On that, So I don't know if you know this. So the director of The Great Jahy and Blue Lock, Jonathan Brigg, comes from working at Nintendo.
Wow.
And his wife, Audrey Riggs, is a writer. She's really sweet. We had dinner with them like when we were recording Jahy. They're really cool people. But she was one of the head writers for Breath of the Wild.
Wow.
And
That's
that was
crazy.
what I literally
What a flex.
I know. And she doesn't even talk about it. They're huge Zelda fans, but they hardly she hardly talks about it. And I just remember like she just threw it out there like it was no big deal. I'm like,
yeah, I'm a writer for Zelda.
I called my sister and my brother's like, you don't know who I just met right now. But like, yeah, she doesn't care. She's like, it's no big deal. It's like, girl.
I still had to play Breath of the Wild. The last Zelda game that I played was Twilight Princess. That was the last one that I played. And unfortunately, I didn't beat it because somebody stole it from me. But I still, all I need to do is just buy the disc again, and then I'll be good.
I still haven't finished technically, I don't think, Wind Waker, only because, and my brother will never live this down. He was like 4 years old. It was on the GameCube, and he like did something where he deleted it on accident. And it was one of those where I was almost done. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you did this. Blah, 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 blah. And then years later, I was playing, and I tell him this all the time. The reason why I never finished it was because he did that, and I didn't want to go back into it and spend all that time. I realized years later when I was playing it again, I wasn't even close to being finished. I thought it was. It's like if you play Wind Waker, there's a part in like the middle of the story where it seems like that's the end, and then surprise, there's more. I was there, and then I remember I got there as an adult playing it, and I was like, yeah, this is finally, I'm gonna finish it. And then there was so much more, so I was like, oh, well, never mind.
I know that feel. I remember because like you're a Pokemon fan. Yeah. I remember back in the day, I had Pokemon Blue, and I had caught like 130 something Pokemon. And my brother's friend had came over, and we were all playing the Nintendo 64, and his friend wanted to play Pokemon. And I remember after he had left, I had turned it on, and I was just like, what's going on? Like I was dumbfounded. I was confused. Right. Like he started a new game. He started a new game, and I was so heated, man. I told my brother, I said, they are never allowed to come over here again, man. I was so heated. But then it happened to me a second time in life too, where I had the girl that I was talking to at the time, I had let her borrow my PSP, and I had let her borrow Crisis Core because like she loved the Final Fantasy game. It's like she wasn't in the Final Fantasy, but she loved Crisis Core because she had a crush on Zach. And when she brought my PSP back, like I guess either her or her nephew, they erased like my save file, and I was just like, why touch those? Why? Like I was just like, why did I even leave my memory card in the PSP?
It sounds like you. Everything I see is you gave it willingly to somebody. Yeah. So I feel like you had it coming.
Yeah,
you opened the opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, but Trav, go ahead.
I got two things. One, I'm so happy to see that there's a resurgence of love for Wind Waker because everybody crapped on that game when it came out, and I loved Wind Waker when it came out. I love the animation style of Wind Waker. I like big-headed Zelda. I mean, it was cool. And so my second thing is, did you see Super Mario Brothers yet?
I did. We actually went to go see it yesterday for Easter.
Okay, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. We were actually talking about it today. It was definitely
not gonna be no spoilers. Calm down.
Oh, no spoilers.
And Banks is the king of spoilers, anyways. So
I was supposed to go see the movie on Saturday.
Didn't go.
Didn't go.
But it was definitely one of those, because the whole drive back, we were first of all talking about how I told my brother, my sister, and I was like, well, now watching a movie like that kind of gets me worried for what they're wanting to bring, especially now that Nintendo is its own company to do movies, where like, it'd be cool to have them do a Zelda game because they can, and it's one of their top selling games, but please don't. Yeah. I don't want you to touch it. Don't. They could, but please don't.
Well, you're skipping into my next question there.
So this is all conversations we had. But like today we were talking about how it was really cool. They gave us everything that you wanted. It was the same thing with the Pokemon Detective Pikachu movie, where you could tell that they were testing the waters. We're gonna do all these things. They got little snippets from different Mario games, which was really fun for the nostalgic fan to kind of be like, hey, I know that. Hey, I know that. Great music, really great music. All the cast does a good job. I know a lot of people didn't like Peach. I didn't mind her. They made her more tomboy-y.
Anna Taylor-Joy can literally do anything.
I love her. So. I love the Queen's Gambit. So I was like, I saw her as Peach. I was like, yes. But like, I think that it was a really good movie to start off. And I'm not like, it was also very fast-paced that there was a lot of like holes in the story plot where I was like, okay, that's fine, I guess. But it was also cool to pick up on the little things. So like when they go to Donkey Kong and everything like that, I would kept like nudging my brother and be like, Diddy Kong, I want Diddy Kong. Please bring Diddy Kong in because I love Diddy Kong Racing. And he had a little cameo appearance. It's like, yes! My sister was laughing because I got so loud in the theater. Meanwhile, I'm sure no one else in the theater really cared about Diddy Kong, but I was a huge fan. But like they had like really fun Easter eggs for the fans, which was really cool. They made it an open storyline for the not fans coming in. They know who Mario is. Everyone knows who Mario is. Yep. And so they had it available for all ages, which was really fun, but they did do a lot of nods to the fans, which is I appreciate.
So look,
I thought it's a great kids movie, and it honestly looks like what I thought a Mario like I've always imagined a Mario movie kind of looking like Mario 64. And this was pretty spot on to that, just like if it was updated graphics, you know what I mean? So I really like the animation.
The detail work was also really cool. Like I kept looking like the patchwork they had on his hat and his denims and the water features. Like, it was really well done.
Did a great job. But so that was my next question. This 375 million biggest opening weekend for an animation movie, beating Frozen 2.
Hey,
what do you think's the next Nintendo movie? Because it's happening.
Okay, so we talked about this. All right, so they could do Zelda, but I think we're in agreement, my siblings and I, that we think Zelda is too big of a series for them to try and go straight after Mario. And so I do think they're gonna do more beforehand. I also said they could totally do like an MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, where they introduce all these different character movies, and then also we're gonna meet and do Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers movie. I would be down for that.
But because there's like, not spoiler, but when Mario's fighting DK, he totally does a Smash Brothers thing. I was like, hey! But because they did Donkey Kong, they could always do his movie next. Or they could do a spin-off of Diddy. I do think that they could be leading into the idea of meeting different characters and bringing them into the same universe like they can do with Smash Brothers. But I do think that Star Fox should be their next one.
Ooh.
But I was talking to Jason Lord, the director, today, and he was talking about how I think Miyamoto, who's the head of Nintendo, apparently doesn't like Star Fox.
What?
And so he was saying that like he's like famously known for not liking Star Fox, or Metroids, and so it's like they're most likely not going to do it unless it's greenlit by someone else. And so I was like, but Star Fox would be such a good one to come next because it's not too popular, but it's popular enough, and the graphics are already there, the storyline's already there.
Yeah,
it would be so cool to see those outer space adventures. Of Slippy and Falco and all those people in like a full-length movie. I want them to be Star Fox next, but I do think either a Yoshi movie is going to be next or a Donkey Kong movie is going to be next. They're going to do a Tinkerbell thing where Yoshi has his own thing and all of a sudden he meets Mario at the end.
All right, okay.
So it's so crazy that I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
It's so crazy that you just mentioned Star Fox because I recently just started playing Star Fox 64 again. It's my favorite Nintendo 64 game of all time.
And I just remember going to my neighbor's house and playing Star Fox 64, and they had I didn't have a Rumble Pack.
I had the Rumble Pack.
Oh, yes!
And that was the first game I played with the Rumble Pack, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and the controller was shaped. I remember because the Rumble Packs would eventually get to a point where they wouldn't stop rumbling. Yeah. And then like I remember I was playing the game. I thought it was going to explode because it just kept rumbling. But
I already know you built up this whole scenario where the Rumble Pack exploded and
man, if it would have exploded, I don't know what would have happened. But
yeah,
like I said, I just started playing Star Fox 64 again.
Thank you.
And on my birthday back in January, my friend Megan and James, they had came over, and Megan had brought their Switch, and they had Star Fox 64 up there. And like neither one of them had ever played. So you know me, I'm sitting here just like, yo, I'm about to kill these people, right? And I demolished them. And what I would do, like because we were doing like the point system, so it was first to 5. I would get my 4 points, and then I would just fly around. I'd be like, hey, look, y'all try to come back. Y'all fight each other, because you know I'm advanced right now. Y'all fight each other, and it's just like the problem was they would try to team up on me, and I was just like, all right, I mean, like, I'm gonna end it now, you know, like I did the finger snap like Thanos. But
hey, if D was here right now, what would he call you?
I don't know.
Despicable.
He probably would. I mean, but look, it was my birthday. They wanted to play it, and I was telling them. Now, Lisette, I don't know if like how much you played Star Fox 64, but did you know that if you got all of the medals on every world, you unlocked foot mode and versus mode? Did you know that?
Isn't versus mode in it?
Yeah. So remember,
I'm sitting here like, I swear I played that.
Yeah. So in versus mode, you had the R wings, right?
Yeah.
But then you could also unlock the tank, right? So then you can have the R wings or the tank. But if you got all of the medals on all the stages, and I think that you had to like get all the medals in like the time attack mode too, you unlock foot mode, where like the characters would be on the ground, and like you could shoot. Yeah, you could shoot at people, and I was so good in the game. Like I used to shoot at people on foot mode, and I would beat them. Like Star Fox is my game, and to piggyback and take it back, and then Trav, you can ask D's a final question. You mentioned Diddy Kong Racing, and Star Fox 64. Those were my two favorite, and Majora's Mask. Those were my favorite games. Now Diddy Kong Racing, I want to ask you before I get into my story. What character did you play with on Diddy Kong Racing? Mine was Pipsy the Mouse.
Yes, I was gonna say that, the little Pipsy. I was like, I always play that, but no, I have to talk about the Star Fox thing. So, my dad was the gamer guy, so we always played it with them. Like we literally to this day quote it all the time, where it's like, it's quiet, too quiet, do a barrel roll, all the things.
Do a barrel
roll. But literally, last November they had come to visit. We were doing Thanksgiving and everything like that, and it's one of those like obviously generational things where my brother, who's a gamer kid, he does all the first person shooters. He thinks he's so cool because he knows video games, and we're just like, let's play this game, and we put in Star Fox because it's one of my dad's favorite games. And so we're sitting here and we're all playing, because we all, like, you know, you haven't played in a long time, but if you played it a million times, you know exactly what you're doing, where to go. And he goes over here, is like, yeah, sure. And he's over here like, it's the lava one, and he keeps like getting hit, and we're sitting like, what are you doing? I was like, what is wrong with you? I was like, give me that. But like just getting to see here and watch, like especially that they're bringing these games like onto the Switch, where all the kids are now playing it. Like I just saw that Pokemon Stadium is supposed to be coming this week onto the Switch and stuff. I'm so excited. But like it's really cool to see those old games come back and have all these people, these kids now playing it, and it's also like introducing them to it so that they can make them into movies and do all this other stuff. As for the Diddy Kong Racing, learned this maybe a year or two ago. Did you know? I don't know if you beat it, but I beat it. I beat it with the space thing.
Yes, the final boss. I can't.
I had no idea that existed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, because we played it. It was one of those where, you know, you play it just to do the races and to do the fun stuff. And then I remember finally beating it. Cool, great. And I, like, my brother and sister and I were bored one day while we were cleaning, and I put on the Diddy Kong Racing soundtrack, and it was just someone's playthrough. And as it's going through, all of a sudden it starts going to this whole other sequence post credits and all this stuff, and I'm just like, what is this? And they go into the lighthouse.
The lighthouse,
and it shoots off into space. I was like,
into space.
I was like, wait a minute. This whole extra thing exists, which I knew it as a kid because in my plane I would always like run into the thing and try to get inside the lighthouse, but you couldn't. But now I'm over here and my sister just got her N64 back up and running. So I was like, I need to play Diddy Kong Racing. I have it on the DS when they opened it up, when they brought Diddy Kong Racing to the DS as well. So I was like, I need to finish it and play it because I literally just learned last year that there was way more than I because that's the thing. Back in the day, you just played the game to play the game. We didn't have access to more information online when you got stuck.
Yeah, or you took a chance because people would like I used to go to the library and I would go to like the video game websites and like find out stuff like the cheat codes. Like there was a cheat code where you could do 2-player mode and story mode. So me and my brother used to do 2-player mode. There was also the thing, I can't remember his name, but did you know that there was a rooster?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know.
He was one of the frogs on the island, and I think like you had to complete something.
Yes.
And then when you blew the horn at him, he would, or once you caught him, he would turn back into a rooster. I unlocked him, but he wasn't anything special. Like Pipsy was the best. And like now this leads into my story, and then we can go into the final questions to wrap this thing up. So the year was 2000 and
you gotta set the scene.
The year I'm trying to think, it was 2000. When did Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 come out? I want to say it was like 2005. 2005 was when that game came out. And I remember, like, you know, I used to cut the grass, rake up yards and stuff like that. And I had $25, and I was just like, man, I need another $25. So I had went over to my friend's house, and he had a 64. And I was just like, look, man, I need $25, so I need to buy this Dragon Ball Z game. And he was just like, what are you trying to do? And I was like, let's play Diddy Kong Racing, which he had. And then he was just like, I'm good in it. And I was like, whatever. You know, I was the type of person where, like, because remember you had the hover cars, right?
Yeah. I
used to beat people in the hover cars. You know what I'm saying? Like my brother used to be like, how? I was like, because I'm good. So we played, and I $25 on the line, and we did best 2 out of 3, and I won both rounds. And then, but I was sitting there thinking to myself, I was just like, what if I would have lost? I knew I couldn't lose. I had to win.
Back was
I
up
really wanted
the
to get
wall,
that.
Man.
I really wanted to get that Dragon Ball Z, right? So I got the money. I won, and I went up to Walmart that night to get the game. And I remember because my mom, she was at work. And, you know, of course, you know, being a teenager, you got to be in the house at a certain time. Yeah. And so I went up to Walmart, I got the game, and I was walking home. I was excited. I was happy. I'm like, man, I'm about to pop this thing into the PS2. And then my mom was parked in the driveway. And I was like, oh, no. So I turned around, and I was just like, I'll go through the backyard, go through the back door, and I'll be safe. She came out of the driveway and pulled right up next to me, and she was like, where are you just coming from? And I was like, I just went for a walk. I wanted to go for a walk around there. She took the game away from me.
Oh, why didn't you put the game in your back pocket?
I wasn't thinking, man. I was scared. Like you ain't never met my mom, but
I got grounded from my manga. Like, instead of like being grounded from normal teenage means, my mom would just take my entire bookshelf.
Yeah.
And then she would just put them in her like room, and then my mom worked nights and everything like that, so I would just wait till she went to work. And then I'd pull out my books.
PlayStation under her bed, so I know the feeling.
Man, right. My mom, like Lisette, like I used to be a very bad Benjamin Banks. And like when I used to get in trouble, my mom would take the TV out of my room. She would take the Sega Genesis, and it's like if I had to suffer, my brother was gonna suffer too. Like it's just like I would sneak, like, and I'll be like, you know what, it's worth getting my tail whooped. Like I want to play these games and whatnot. And I remember like I did eventually find the Dragon Ball Z game. and yeah, I was playing it, and I remember one time she came in my room and she saw me playing it, and I was just like, oh, I'm just playing something, one of my friends, but
doesn't know the stuff.
But that's my story, and like that's the reason why I love Diddy Kong Racing, and it doesn't matter. Like I said, if we ever meet face to face, like if you ever at a con here in Virginia, or I come to where you are, I'm gonna bring the Nintendo 64 because I keep that rare controller. I keep that red controller in my trunk at all times.
You keep it in the purse, like
I'm gonna bring it, and I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you in Diddy Kong Racing. You're gonna be like, how's he beat me in the hover round? I'm like, because I'm that damn good. So yep, that's my story.
You could also play the little dinosaur mini game. I love that one.
Oh, with the eggs.
Collect the eggs.
Oh my god. Oh my god, man. I'm telling you, man. People used to hate me. In the battle mode. I didn't care. I was good. When it came to 64, I was good in every 64 game that I ever played. So
funny.
So Trav.
And I'm more of a Crash Bandicoot racing.
It's okay.
PlayStation kid, so CTR is.
It's okay. It's no Diddy Kong or Mario Kart. It's okay.
But look, I totally forgot about these questions. So we've gone so damn long. But I gotta say this one thing. I'm gonna say it quickly. Super Mario successful. Next movie they make. Honestly, I'm rolling with Kirby. I think Kirby's a good one to come in.
My brother said that one.
Yeah, I think Kirby's a good one to come in and do that. So I'm not going to elaborate on it. But okay, all right.
Hey, can I give mine?
2 questions.
Oh,
huh?
Can I give mine?
No, you ain't seen the movie. No.
I would say if they come out with a movie, I want it to be the alarm just went off. If they come out with a movie, I want it to be Quest 64.
I'll say Earthworm Jim.
Oh.
Or what was the one? I'm so excited. The one where you parasail.
Pilot Wings.
Pilot Wings.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I loved that.
They brought that back a couple years ago.
They brought it back to the Switch too, just like a month or two ago, and it's like such a pointless game. But I was obsessed with it.
I was joking about about Quest 64. If they were gonna make a movie, it needs to be Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, because that was my game.
Okay, that's enough. See, this is why I didn't want you to get into this guy. So, before we dive into these 2 questions, are you a horror fan?
Yeah. I don't know a lot of stuff like off the bat, but I don't get scared easily. So I love watching them and just kind of laughing.
Okay. So maybe you'll choose a movie, maybe you won't, but our good friend D, the rebellious one over here, he likes to wrap up this podcast with 2 questions. The first one being, as a kid, what scared you, spooked you, stuck with you to this day? What, was it a movie? Was it a scene? Was it the doll in Nana's room? What was it that scared you?
I actually don't have one. Like that's the thing, especially like I am also like a haunt supervisor at theme parks, so that's part of the thing too. And my performers try to scare me all the time, and I think it's so funny because I don't get scared. I see it coming.
You can scare Banks when you see him.
It's Diddy Kong. But like that's the whole thing. Like growing up, I loved my mom hates scary movies. My sister hates scary movies. So I didn't get to watch a lot of them. And so maybe that's part of it, is that I watch them more as like a teenager and an adult. I already know that they're not scary, what's happening. And it was really more of the like my behind the scenes brain, where when I watch movies, I like to pick out things. And so like when it comes to horror films, it's more of I see what's coming. You can pick it up with the music building and this, that, and this and whatnot. The only one that really freaks me out, like at the end of the day, are gonna be this like Japanese horror movies or series in general, because they're more towards the realism rather than American films where they're like, there's something we need to take care of and fix and whatnot, and then at the end they get rid of it. While in the Japanese Ju-on version of The Grudge, it's actually, this house is haunted, we can't fix it, oh well. That's like that. That's how it is. It's like they're spirits. What are you gonna do? So little things like that. Like as a child, nothing really, to be honest, because I didn't because my family weren't scary movie people. Watched a lot of Disney movies and cartoons. I know even people were scared of the giant whale in Pinocchio. No, I didn't. I didn't. It didn't bother me. Oh, okay, that's a lie. We mentioned this earlier. Freaking the undead in Zelda. There you go. Done. Because like literally, like even after playing it as a kid and then having to play it older, whenever you go down to get your sun song, rather than go around there, I would just run through that poisonous water because I did not want them screaming at me. So yeah, the undead, maybe it's just Ocarina of Time villains. The undead, that crazy weird white thing that has the hands that come
with the hand,
yeah, with the neck, that one gets me. And playing a Majora's Mask for the first time actually traumatized me because we didn't we bought it when it first came out and we each put it in. We're like, okay, we're gonna play it. Lisette, you'd be the first one. Okay, cool. And so it was my dad, my sister, and me. They were watching me play it. And you get to the end of the game or end of your 3 days, and if you don't reverse time, it just explodes.
Yep.
And I just remember not really comprehending that was gonna happen, and it did. And then you lose everything. And I just remember being like, of course, Rumble Pack as well, where it's happening. I was like,
yeah, shake.
Yes, Zelda. I would say that traumatized by Zelda, but still love it to this day. Made me a better person.
Okay.
All right. So
and final wrap up question.
Okay, you got it.
What?
No.
Okay,
Because usually we do the tag team. It's like you ask.
I know. I
hey,
roll
look,
with the
bro.
whole
I've been
thing,
asking all the questions. You go ahead and do
briefcase. It. But yeah, final wrap up question for real this time. And negating Disney, I want to take Disney off the table because we kind of talked about it already. What, we're from the same era, same age group. What is your favorite 80s or 90s movie or both, if you have one?
Taking Disney off
Super
the table.
Mario movie.
Yeah, obviously. Wow, you take Disney off the table, and that's basically my entire identity. It's technically Disney, but would you count Roger Rabbit?
Yes.
No. Yeah,
I would count that as Disney.
Yes, I would count.
Dang it! We got one no.
Oh no! I was saying you could say Roger Rabbit.
Because I don't know. Because again, growing up, we watched more cartoons. My mom doesn't like movies that aren't fun. I'm sitting here now or Space Jam. I love Space Jam. And I think because they're both of the same vein too, Roger Rabbit, Space Jam, I think that was the first time we got those kinds of movies were the first time we meshed the human world with cartoons. So I think those would be my answers because as a kid, that's what you want. You want your cartoons to come to real life. Yeah. So it's I have a Looney Tunes purse right here. That's why I was like, yes, Space Jam. So yeah, I would say if Roger Rabbit is Disney, we'll go with Space Jam. I can quote that movie.
Okay, cool.
I love that.
Yeah, cool.
What'd you think
were
of
you
New
a fan
Legacy,
of Chip and Dale?
Yeah. But yeah.
No, I mean I'm sorry, not this series, but
the new one.
Yeah, the Chip and Dale.
Oh, the live action movie.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it. I honestly
you need to watch. I didn't seen it 3 times.
You gotta watch it.
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah.
I've heard. And that was the thing, I actually didn't know it even existed until sometime last year someone was watching it and I was in the middle of it and I had no idea what was happening.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing Chip and Dale be very confused.
It's a lot better than Space Jam 2, so.
Well, it's a new legacy.
Space Jam 2, huh?
It's a new legacy, though.
Don't know about that. It's definitely a movie.
No, it's worth one watch.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Well, I'll say it's worth 2 watches. Watching it in theaters and then watching it when it shows up on Hulu. I'll say.
The only reason why I watch it because at Six Flags their costume characters are Looney Tunes, and that was one of the best experiences because it was all of my Looney Tune performers and we were watching it together, and so we did the whole watch party and we're sitting here. I was like, "Where's Bugs Bunny? We don't want LeBron James. We don't want you guys." And so when they first came into the world, literally my living room lit up. They were cheering and everything like that. So that was the only watch I'll ever need.
Okay. Well, there's something special too about those live action mixed in with cartoon stuff from the 80s and 90s, like Roger Rabbit, Space Jam, Cool Runnings with Brad Pitt, super fire movie.
And it's cool because you get to see, especially you're talking about 80s, 90s films or late 90s, but getting to see the graphics is so cool because to imagine what they were doing then to now what they can do now. So I was it's really cool.
It's like them deep fakes, man. So we're here at the end of the interview, and it was a fun one. It was a real fun one. Lisette, thank you so much for joining us up here.
Thanks for staying extra with us.
Yes, thank you for staying extra. So before we let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
I'm on Twitter and Instagram. You can search me by looking up my name, Lisette Monique Diaz. I pop up. Besides that, that's pretty much it. I'm going to a convention in Houston. On 4th of July weekend, even though it's not 4th of July.
Hey, Big Willie weekend, not just
any
Big Willie weekend.
So that's gonna be really fun. We're actually really excited because we're calling it kind of like Studio 10 taking over, because Studio 10 is where the great Jahy was recorded and Blue Lock was recorded, and more than half of the guests are us from Jahy and Blue Lock, and so we're just like Studio 10.
Y'all's block now.
It really is. And then a couple other people, and I'm really bad at names, but like the voice Phil Parsons is gonna be there. But then also like I can't remember his name, but the voice of Ty from Digimon is gonna be there.
Josh, what's up?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I remember I saw his name also on the guest list, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm gonna fangirl out.
Hey, Trav, do the plug.
And Chuck Huber is gonna be there, and so like all these big names are gonna be there. So I'm really excited, and I have to hold my internal fangirl. But I'm excited. I'm going to be there as a guest. So I'm excited.
Hey, well, look, when you see somebody standing in line with 4 Nintendo 64 controllers, you already know what's up.
Please, I am ready. We will do this.
That's what they always say. They always say they're ready, and then they lose. I'm just saying.
You let me know when. I'll make sure I have Pokemon Stadium 2 with me, and I will dominate.
Hold on.
I will dominate the minigame section.
Hold on. Pokemon Stadium or Pokemon Stadium 2?
2, specifically.
See, the thing is, it's like
now we got excuses.
Yeah, I do have excuses because Pokemon Stadium, yes, I played a lot, but by the time Pokemon Stadium 2 came out, I had already switched over to the PS1. So it's like I wasn't really I played it, but I didn't play it. But if we play Pokemon Stadium, that Clefairy memory game, your boy got it.
We'll see.
Oh, and the Hypno Drowsy where you got to keep on.
I remember that.
Your boy. Look, I'm telling you, when it comes to them Nintendo 64 games, your boy has it. And Trav, do the plug because she just mentioned Joshua Seth.
Oh yeah, and we interviewed Joshua Seth on the podcast and the YouTube. It's right here.
All right, so Trav, let them know where they can find you at the social media land now.
On the Instagram, ZK Audio. I'm on the Twitter and the TikToks, TRAVIOSZK. We're also on Letterboxd. I'm ranking and rating my daily movie watches. Banks, if they want to come get these hands in Diddy Kong, where they gonna get these hands at, boy?
Well, before they get these hands, make sure that you follow Rebellious D on Instagram at rebellious__D23 at Instagram.com, as he always says. And then you can find me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you all for watching this new episode, this new interview. Make sure that you follow Lisette on all of her social media accounts. Show her love and let her know that she can't beat me in Diddy Kong Racing. And with that being said, keep that pinky up. Stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace. Thank you for watching a brand new episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure that you hit that like button and you subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content on our channel. Make sure you check out our podcast where we release new episodes every Tuesday, and the video of that episode is uploaded on Friday. And you can find new episodes of our podcast on all podcast platforms. Make sure you follow all the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks social media accounts at Leveling Up Banks on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, we have a Patreon. If you're feeling generous and would love to donate to us, it's at Leveling Up Banks. And huge shout out to our patrons. We really appreciate you and thank you for the support. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks.